everyone, this is Peak Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video for you, and this will be our first look at the first teaser trailer for Captain America Brave New World. Now this is overall the 5th installment within the MCU Phase 5, following Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, the Marvels and Guardians of the Galaxy 3 from last year, and also the upcoming Deadpool and Wolverine within a couple of weeks' time. And this is overall the 4th Captain America movie, following the first Avenger in 2011, Winter Soldier in 2014, and Captain America Civil War in 2016. The movie itself is still debuted to release on 14th of February 2025. And it's been much a troubled production over this movie. It's gone through various reshoots. Its original title was New World Order back in 2022 when Marvel announced their Phase 5 plans, but that's since been amended. And as we've been following the universe, we know that this will be the further continuation of the adventures of Sam Wilson, who was originally the Falcon but ended up picking up the shield to take over the mantle of Captain America following the events of Endgame. We of course saw his first introduction into the role with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier television series on Disney Plus a couple of years ago. And overall, this trailer I think was okay. It was nothing special. You can clearly see that they're going for the same serious government conspiracy and political vibes that what we saw with Winter Soldier, which still remains one of the best movies within the entire MCU. And despite the further adventures of the more streetwise or modern day characters such as Winter Soldier or Black Widow, for example, the MCU has yet to capture or recapture the same kind of verve and energy that what we saw with Winter Soldier, and I think that's overall the tone that what they're going for here within this movie, and it's overall the right one, to be honest with you. We've also seen various attempts with the likes of Secret Invasion fail again to really have that same compelling storyline of what we saw with Winter Soldier. So hopefully we can get that much more immersive and much more thrilling experience with this movie overall. In terms of the story, it's a bit vague. I think this trailer really just gave light details as to what's happening. We see of course the introduction of Sam Wilson once more as he's meeting Thunderbolt Ross, or General Ross, who we all know now is being played by Harrison Ford following the sad death of William Hurt a couple of years ago. And they very much play into that when we see Sam Wilson remarking on the different look of Ross. This is of course harking back to the original line that what we saw in Iron Man 2 when Don Cheadle took over the reins from Terrence Howard. And we opened the movie literally with that line, "You're looking different. This is how I am now. Let's move on." And I think it's good to see Harrison Ford still showing some sort of conviction in his elderly years. Hopefully this movie will fare far more successfully than his previous effort, of course, which was Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. But in terms of this trailer itself, from what we can gather, it seems that Ross wants to take the government, whether it's S.H.I.E.L.D. or whatever's in charge now in terms of the main government of the country, into a certain direction, and that will cause some clashing with Sam, who will obviously, we assume, will still follow the same ideals that what we saw with Steve Rogers, particularly in Captain America Civil War, which saw him going against the government and the whole registration enforcement acts to try and control the superheroes. And then we see later on an assassination attempt on President Ross, and we assume this will be one of the integral plot elements which will prompt Sam Wilson interaction. And I would imagine that as he's investigating this affair, he will find out further layers of corruption and secrecy which will probably tie back to President Ross in some capacity. And I think visually the trailer looks fine. We have plenty of those airborne sequences where we see Sam Wilson fully decked out in his Captain Americanized costume, if you like, with all of the blue and the white, flying through the air, dodging all of the missiles and flying into planes. Whenever we watch sequences like this, we do have to remember that he doesn't have the super soldier serum, from what I can recollect from the events of the Falcon and Winter Soldier. The dilemma of this movie is, how do they make Sam Wilson a special character handling the shield where he has no particular superpowers? How is he going to take on all of these various foes and enemies when he's basically just a regular human? And whilst I felt that Sam Wilson and both Bucky Barnes had a decent chemistry in the Falcon and Winter Soldier, this movie of course will be entirely carried by Sam Wilson himself. Now Anthony Mackie can be a very charismatic actor, but from what we can get within this trailer here, It very much seems that Sam Wilson is going to be the same stoic personality that we very much saw with Steve Rogers as well. So we would hope that he does get a bit more license to infuse a bit more of a charisma and much more of a livelier persona. It wouldn't surprise me if we saw some sort of appearance from Sebastian Stan as Winter Soldier, again just to keep with the main continuity. Now it will be challenging to see what exact story that they do provide with this film. Now if you've been following the trajectory of this production, you'll know that there are various other characters appearing, such as Samuel Stearns, who will be played once more by Tim Blake Nelson, and this will be following the continuity from the Incredible Hulk sequel back in 2008. If you remember, we had that critical scene halfway through the film where after Bruce Banner hulked out, we saw some of the gamma radiated serum, I guess, falling onto the blood of Samuel Stearns, and this was hinting that he would become the leader. For anybody who follows the material, the leader is one of the most famous villains within the Hulk mythology, and he's not necessarily fueled by super strength, but more of his brain and his intelligence, and that's what's fueled much more when he interacts with the gamma radiation. So it wouldn't surprise me if we see him making an appearance in his full comic book version throughout this story. But we do also know that there will be another villain here being played by Giancarlo Esposito. Of course, we all know him from Moff Gideon within the Mandalorian series, and also from The Boys playing Stan Edcup. And we see him here in various sequences where he's shooting the guns and walking very ominously. So it very much seems that he will be one of the main, if not the main antagonist throughout the show. And it will be interesting because, as we all know, throughout his various roles, Giancarlo Esposito very much plays a certain tone, a certain character in terms of the villain, the much more articulate, very politely spoken, almost gentleman-like villain. Of course, we do also refer to his role as Gus Fring in the Breaking Bad series as well. So, from what I can see here, it certainly seems that he'll be playing a different type of character, which will be quite refreshing because he does almost at this point seem typecast in the type of characters that he's playing. So hopefully here he can exhibit a bit more of a physical menace, and again that's going to be critical in providing a suitable antagonist for Sam Wilson. We do then of course have to refer to the money shot, or the final shot that I suppose will get all of the more comic book geeks talking, and that is the appearance of the Red Hulk. In the final shot here, you see it briefly where we see him, it seems, throwing the shield to the ground. Now, if you follow the comic book mythology, you will know that the Red Hulk is a version that is assumed by President Ross. After connecting with some sort of artificial intelligence, he ends up turning into the Red Hulk, and he uses that ability to fight his enemies. And I'm not really sure that a Red Hulk is warranted within a Captain America movie. Again, this is something that the film is very much going to have to try and overcome. Is it much more of a Captain America singular story, or is it a Captain America movie fused with elements of the Hulk story? I'm not sure how having a Red Hulk is going to mesh well with the much more contemporary, more real world, realistic tones that this film is clearly going for. Will Red Hulk end up being a villain? Will he end up working with Sam against the threat of Giancarlo Esposito's character? Will it play the very typical narrative where Sam will come up against the Hulk first off, and there will be an initial conflict between the two before later on they team up together? Because of course, in any realistic encounter, Sam wouldn't last very long against the Red Hulk. So whilst this was initially a decent trailer, I think they're going to have to do a lot more in really trying to establish a much more compelling storyline to entice fans to go and watch this. Of course, we're going to be asking the constant questions. Will this be in any way close to the quality of Winter Soldier? Will this continue the bouncing back of Marvel in terms of their Phase 5? As we all know, they got off to a really bad start with both Quantumania and 3-1 The Marvels, but there was an uptick in form with, of course, the third Guardians of the Galaxy movie, but that really felt like a separate entry with what's going on in terms of the current direction of their Phase 5. Yes, we do have Deadpool and Wolverine coming forward very soon, and that's very much looking at there will be a guaranteed box office hit. But again, that's dealing with much more time variants and alternate versions. That's going to be very much a distant continuity with what's going on with Brave New World. So in many ways, I do see Brave New World as really the third main entry within the continuity of Marvel's Phase 5 so far. But hopefully, if Deadpool and Wolverine proves to be a box office hit, Marvel can then use that overall momentum to build into Brave New World. Now, I don't overall believe that it will come anywhere close to making $1 billion. It probably won't even make close to the $740 million that we saw from Captain America back in 2017.
So,
overall,
who would like to start? Mr. Barnes, why does Sam aggravate you?
15 seconds to drop!
So
what's our plan?
Every other film was making $1 billion.
Great.
And they probably felt that, of course, infused much more of their diversity in
superheroes.
They were probably
cannot be allowed
they could have
to
the same
exist.
sort of cultural impact as what we saw with Black Panther, but that's not going to.
I have no intention to leave my work unfinished.
Story. They're very much
Walls upside down right now.
But if they could just start over a very tight,
where do we start?
Exciting story.
Buck, I have a plan. Oh yeah? What is it?
Is you ready?
Here we go again, huh?
We've been grinding hard on the job. Can't take that from us. Are you ready? Is you ready? Ready? Is you ready? Are you ready? Is you ready?
Nothing, I would say, overly brilliant. Overall decent first teaser trailer.
Hello, girl, kick your ass.
There's some potential.
Gotta get that first shot up before that bullet hit me.
See? That wasn't so hard.
Are you ready? Is you ready?
Okay.
You say you ready?
What are you doing? Are you having a staring contest?
Are you ready? Is you ready?
Wait to see me cover. Then also let me know in the comments, and I will see if I can provide further commentary for you on that subject matter within the future. Please also hit like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you very, very soon.